Have you ever heard of a queen who built an empire in the desert and dared to challenge Rome at the height of its power? This isn't a fantasy novel. This is the story of Zenobia, the warrior queen of Palmyra. Imagine a city of golden stone rising from the Syrian desert. This was Palmyra, a vital crossroads on the Silk Road. Traders from Persia, India, China, and Rome all passed through its magnificent colonnaded streets, and at the heart of this thriving hub, a queen emerged who would shake the foundations of the ancient world. Her name was Zenobia. To her people, she was a symbol of strength, beauty, and wisdom. But to the Roman Empire, she was a dangerous rebel, a threat that could not be ignored. Zenobia was never destined for an ordinary life. From a young age, she was a prodigy. Fluent in Aramaic, Greek, and Egyptian, she even learned Latin, the language of her future enemy. She devoured the works of Homer, studied philosophy, and memorized the military strategies of Alexander the Great. She was as skilled in intellectual debate as she was on horseback, often riding with her soldiers for miles. Her presence was magnetic. With piercing dark eyes, a powerful voice, and an undeniable regal air, she commanded respect from everyone she met. Her journey to power began in tragedy. When her husband, King Odaenathus of Palmyra, was assassinated, the kingdom was thrown into chaos. Rome expected Palmyra to remain a quiet client state. They expected Zenobia, as regent for her young son, to be a compliant puppet. They were wrong. Zenobia didn't just step into the void, she seized power with both hands. She wasn't just a caretaker, she was the true ruler, the queen. Initially, her moves were calculated and clever. She secured her borders, forging alliances with local desert tribes and strengthening Palmyra's army. She expanded the city's trade networks, bringing even more wealth and influence to her kingdom. But her ambition was far grander than simply maintaining the status quo. She saw weakness in Rome, which was plagued by internal conflicts and constant changes in leadership, and she saw an opportunity. This is where her story turns from that of a local ruler to an empire builder. Zenobia unleashed her armies. First, they swept into Egypt. This was a direct challenge to Rome, as Egypt was the empire's breadbasket, supplying the grain that fed its massive population. By conquering it, Zenobia held a knife to Rome's throat. She didn't stop there. Her forces marched north into Anatolia, modern-day Turkey, capturing vast territories. By the year 270 AD, Zenobia's Palmyrene Empire was a force to be reckoned with, stretching from Arabia to the Black Sea. It was the second most powerful empire in the region, rivaled only by Rome itself. Zenobia fully embraced her new status. She declared herself Empress of the East. New coins were minted, showing her son's face on one side as emperor and her own on the other, with the title Augusta, a title reserved for Roman empresses. The message was clear: she was not a subordinate, she was an equal. She believed she could forge a new Eastern Empire, a dynasty to stand alongside Rome, not under its shadow. It was a breathtaking act of defiance. But an empire as proud and powerful as Rome does not tolerate rivals for long. The challenge was met by a new Roman emperor, Aurelian. He wasn't a politician. He was a hardened, brilliant general, a man forged in battle, and he was determined to restore Rome's lost territories and its pride. He gathered his legions and marched east with one goal: to crush the rebel queen. The clash of these two titans was inevitable. Aurelian's disciplined Roman army met Zenobia's forces near Antioch. The battle was fierce, but Zenobia's army was broken. She regrouped, making another stand at Emesa. Again, the result was the same. The Roman military machine was relentless. Aurelian's legions systematically reclaimed the lands Zenobia had conquered, pushing her back toward her desert stronghold. Even with her armies shattered, Zenobia refused to surrender. She was a queen, not a quitter. In a desperate, final gamble, she fled Palmyra. Riding her swiftest camel, she raced eastward across the desert, hoping to reach Persia and secure a new alliance to continue the fight. But Roman cavalry, relentless in their pursuit, were closing in. They caught her near the Euphrates River. The chase was over. The Queen of the East, the woman who built an empire and defied Rome, was captured. She now stood in chains, a prisoner of the very empire she had sought to rival. What happened to Zenobia after her capture is one of history's great mysteries, shrouded in conflicting accounts. One story, the most dramatic, says she was taken to Rome and paraded through the streets in Aurelian's triumphal procession, bound in golden chains, a living symbol of Rome's victory. Another, quieter version suggests she was given a villa near Tivoli, married a Roman nobleman, and lived out her days in comfortable exile, her children integrating into the Roman aristocracy. A third, darker tale claims that, too proud to be displayed as a trophy, she starved herself to death, choosing to die a queen rather than live as a captive. We may never know the true ending of her story, but regardless of her fate, Zenobia's legacy was cemented. She became immortal. She was the Desert Queen who rose from a caravan city to rule an empire. For a brief, brilliant moment, she carved out a kingdom that stood as an equal to the greatest power on earth. Her story is more than just a tale of rebellion. It's a timeless testament to courage, vision, and the unyielding refusal to bow to the inevitable. Zenobia may have lost the war, but in her defiance, she won a permanent place in history. She proved that in a world dominated by emperors, a queen could command armies, forge empires, and shape her own destiny. Zenobia, his incredible story of defiance reminds us that history is filled with powerful women whose stories have been pushed to the margins. If you're inspired by her courage, you'll love the other tales of queens, empresses, and leaders who dared to challenge the status quo. Join me as we uncover more of these forgotten legacies. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next journey into the untold power of women who shaped our world. Thanks for watching.